Europe calls DUI a crime. America calls it a mistake. If you have a DUI, technology can stop U.S. citizens from entering Europe. Hi, this is Sarah. I spent the last 2 weeks in Europe walking the streets late at night and feeling something I didn't expect. I felt safe, not guarded, not watchful, not tense. I felt safe because drunkenness wasn't tolerated, because the rules were clear, and because consequences were immediate. That feeling stays with you, especially when you live the opposite. I noticed it because after a drunk driver killed my son, the man who did it went home. Not to jail, but to his mother's house. And my life stopped. I noticed it because after a drunk driver killed my son, the man who did it went home. Not to jail, but to his mother's house. And my life stopped that night. I noticed it because I have lived inside a delay. I have lived inside silence. And with victims' rights denied, I was even called senile because I was in shock and alone. I needed more answers than what they wanted to take the time to tell me. I have lived inside a system that takes its time while families like mine are shattered instantly and given a life sentence. So when I traveled through Europe and saw how seriously drunkenness and drunk driving were taken and treated, how quickly the behavior was stopped, how visibly alcohol was controlled, I understood something clearly. Other countries don't wait for funerals to act. I'm a mother whose only son, Kenley, was killed by a repeat drunk driver. And once you live with this, kind of lost, you start noticing which systems are built to prevent harm and which ones only react after someone is dead. What I saw in Europe, including Czech Republic, Germany, Austria, and Hungary, after about 10 o'clock at night, something stood out immediately. The streets were quiet. There were no open containers at any time. No public drunkenness. No chaos. People were not afraid to be out late at night, even during the Christmas time. Families were walking. Couples were out together. People were calmly using ATMs alone in the dark without fear. There was no tension in the air, no sense of danger driven by alcohol. That kind of safety doesn't happen by accident. It happens when laws are enforced, when public drunkenness is not tolerated, and when people know there are immediate consequences for putting others at risk. There were signs posted, not hidden, that said things like public drunkenness is illegal. Drunk driving leads to prison. Alcohol is not an excuse. And here is something that struck me deeply. You would think those signs would be written only in their native language. They weren't. They were written in, guess what? English. Those warnings were written only in English. Think about that. That should alone tell us how well our reputation is understood abroad. The locals didn't need them translated. They already understood what would happen if they broke the law, and they obeyed it. The signs weren't for them. They were warnings. I saw laws that treated public drunkenness and drunk driving as serious threats. I saw alcohol controlled, not celebrated. I saw immediate consequences, not excuses. And I could not understand how in the United States our love of alcohol is protected so fiercely that DUI fatalities are treated as unimportant, minimized, or quickly moved past, as if the lives lost mattered less than the comfort of those who drink. I noticed that because when alcohol is prioritized over accountability, families like mine pay the price. What happens if you're drunk in public there? If you're drunk and disorderly, the police detain you. Immediately, they come out of the woodwork. No excuses. No get out of jail free card. You are taken to a sobering facility or jail. Now, sobering jail is cold, uncomfortable, and humiliating by design because it stops danger before it becomes a funeral. You are not sent home. There is no bonding out and disappearing. Consequences happen that night. In places like Germany and Austria, police can place you, an American citizen, in protective custody until you are sober. Locals know this, so behavior changes. Driving drunk isn't treated as a bad night. It's treated as a public safety risk. Thanks to technology in countries like Canada, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, a DUI can also block entry into the country. Licenses are suspended immediately. Jail is common when injury or death occurs. Prevention comes before convenience. They don't wait for a second victim. The technology shift. Why? 2026 matters. Starting in 2026, they are using technology to stop risk before it ever enters the country. Through the European Travel Information and Authorization System, commonly called ETIAS, U.S. citizens and other visa-free travelers will be screened before they board a plane to fly to Europe. ETIAS is not visa. It is a risk screening system, and it applies to 30 European countries. If a traveler, including a U.S. citizen, has a serious criminal history, including DUI, ETIAS can flag that risk before entry is allowed, before a flight takes off, before a rental car is handed over, before another family is put in danger. This allows authorities to say, not here, not again. Compare that to the United States. In the United States, DUI is often described as a mistake. In my case, after my son was killed, the man who did it went home not to jail, not to a cell. He went home to be held, reassured, and told it wasn't his fault. It was an accident. Well, my son lost his life, and I lost my only child forever and given a life sentence. He was too drunk to be tested, and I waited 10 months for proof of what everyone already knew. When the arrest finally happened, there was no jail, only a bond and 2 disappearances. In most countries, being that drunk would put you behind bars. Here it is a free pass to kill again. That difference exists because many European countries prioritize public safety and remove the danger. At the same time, the United States, too, often removes responsibility and protects the offender after families are already destroyed. In Europe, harm leads to prison. No debate. And it shows. I didn't see people drunk on the streets. At Christmas time, at the Christmas markets, people enjoyed mulled wine, but only in designated areas and without excess. Celebration was permitted. Endangering others was not. In the United States, after my son was killed, the man who did it, went home. That is the difference I noticed. Because my child was the price of delay and my life was shattered. The victim is the one with the life sentence. In many European countries, the rule is simple. If you kill someone or seriously hurt someone, you go to prison. No questions asked. No character speeches. No sympathy tour. In the United States, it works differently. There is sympathy for the offender. The criminal has all the rights, and victims have to fight for our rights. And the victim is expected to live with the consequences forever. If you believe accountability should come before another family is destroyed, then stay with me. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who still believes DUI is just a mistake. It's just an accident. And add your voice to the comments if you've lived this reality too. This series exists because silence made this normal. Speaking up is how it stops. This is Mama Bear. Thank you.